We can't help but be gobsmacked by hyperrealism art, not because of the endless patience, mind-bending technique, or laser-focused concentration it demands, but because someone actually woke up one day and decided, yep, I'm going to paint every single pore and eyebrow hair like my life depends on it. All right, we get it. It's as real as your aunt's holiday photos, maybe even better than a selfie with perfect lighting. But come on, does every brush stroke need a VIP treatment? When it comes to Chinese hyperrealist painter Leng Jun, saying he's just frustrated by the camera is like saying Michelangelo was just doodling. Leng Jun isn't one of those artists who sees a camera as their mortal enemy. Nah, he's all about painting from the heart, not just upgrading from snapshots. This matters because while a camera can snap every wrinkle and dimple, it's about as emotionally stirring as a potato on a treadmill. Relying too much on this emotionless lens can turn an artist's vision into a pixelated mess. If their eyesight worsens, the emotional impact of their art will vanish faster than a magician's assistant in a disappearing act, leaving viewers as unmoved as a statue in a staring contest. Leng Jun's brilliant solution to this puzzle was to take it old school with sketching. He'd stare down a real-life person, soaking up all the feels. Only once the emotions hit him would he dive into the nitty-gritty of painting techniques. You know, debating if the nose was too ski-slopey, pondering the precise shade of earlobe pink, and all that artistic jazz. Let's dive into Leng Jun's early masterpiece, Pentagram. Did it win gold at the 1999 China National Art Exhibition simply because it made judges question reality itself? Not quite. When we gaze upon it, we can't help but ponder the blood, sweat, and years of the working class. But in traditional art, those 5-pointed stars are all bright red stars, not looking like they've survived a rough night out. Rusty, holy, and more patched up than a quilt at grandma's. That once golden beacon now looks like it's been through a 5-decade-long midlife crisis. Is the star also feeling like it needs a nap and a good cup of tea? Moreover, the background is darker than a black cat in a coal mine, and that 5-pointed star stands out like a superhero at a tea party. After that art exhibition, some folks went on to label Leng Jun's works as sacrilege, against the holy grail of proletarian politics. Now, that's like saying his brushstrokes were throwing shade at Kim Kardashian's selfies. Of course, that wasn't the popular opinion, but from the heated debate back then, it's clear Leng Jun was like, hey, I'm just painting what I see, people. His hyperrealism isn't just about making 5-pointed stars look like they're ready for their close-up. It's about nailing his artistic vision. If it ain't realistic enough, his concept falls flatter than a pancake on a cold griddle. But if it's all flash and no substance, well, even a shiny star can't light up a dark room.
It's not Leng Jun. It's Leng Jun.
Leng Jun, that's why I just said.
Nop. Repeat after me. Leng Jun.
Leng Jun.
Leng Jun.
Leng Jun. Leng Jun. For Christ's sake, I need a bloody break. What about Leng Jun's hyper-realistic portraits? They are a wild ride of his own unique ideas. They're like his rebellious teenagers sneaking out past curfew. While other hyper-realists are playing it safe, Leng Jun's out there, shaking things up like a one-man revolution in art class. His paintings aren't just realistic. They're like reality on steroids, with a side of existential pondering. Hyper-realism to Leng Jun is like Wi-Fi at a coffee shop. You gotta have it for things to click. Lose that essence, and you've got a painting that's like a phone with no emojis, technically functional, but seriously lacking in expression. This part is crucial to his series of works. If it's missing, the painting isn't worthless, but it's seriously unfinished. Standing before Leng Jun's oil paintings, even if you're clueless about art, you can't help but feel like you've stumbled into a deep philosophical debate at a disco party. His layers of color are like the existential angst of a disco ball, solemn, icy, and oh so profound. Leng Jun wields his brush like a wizard, conjuring up a masterpiece with attitude. People stare, jaws dropping at the dazzling images and techniques, as if each painting is strutting down a catwalk, whispering, "I'm art, honey," but with a fierce runway twist. Leng Jun doesn't just paint. He fuses his creative mojo with today's vibe, leaving viewers spiritually jazzed and soul-shaken. It's like art and a dance-off had a baby, and it's fabulous. Leng Jun's hyper-realistic style is like Google Maps for art, totally real and in your face. He says he just feels it when he paints, like he's swiping right on reality. Since he was a little Picasso in training, he's had this knack. As a kid, he'd copy posters like it was his side hustle. He'd stare, scribble, forget, and then sprint back for more poster power-ups. It's like art boot camp, except the posters don't yell at you. Long hours of copying turned Leng Jun into a human camera for stuff. Forget textbooks. This guy was all about swiping artistic tips from posters and photo albums, and bam, he's got his own crazy style. Even in art school, he was like a nerd for making everyday things look super real. He'd get all giddy about showing the world how awesome a bunch of random stuff could look on canvas. Sure, he dabbled in artsy-fartsy stuff later, like painting blobs and feeling deep, but deep down he always came back to making things look so real you could almost touch them. It's like he's playing hide-and-seek with details, and guess what? He always wins. When discussing his painting style, Leng Jun swiftly debunked the rumors. For years, the world has labeled my works as hyper-realism, but I beg to differ. According to Leng Jun, hyper-realism is like the art equivalent of using a microscope to draw ants. It's all technical and precise, but where's the soul? He's all about painting from the gut, not squinting through lenses. Each painting style has its limits, but Leng Jun's stuff breaks through like it's on Red Bull. His art isn't just paint on canvas, it's like he's high-fiving the universe with every stroke. But let's circle back to the question at hand, and set aside Leng Jun's perspective for a moment. In today's age of advanced photography, what's the real deal with hyper-realistic painting? As the ancient proverb says, it's like dancing in handcuffs. Even in the world of snapshots, digital cameras have trounced film in every techie way possible, and printing on old silver paper is like using a stone tablet. So why do some folks still cling to clunky film and those old-school SLR cameras? They're a pain to lug around, and half the time your photos turn out like Bigfoot sightings. But here's the punchline. There's a secret sauce these fancy digital gizmos can't copy. It's the magic touch of handmade mastery. To some extent, this is like art's version of a kitchen challenge. Even if you dilute oil paints to imitate Goya, you won't get that same smooth flow as ink on paper. In traditional Chinese art, the colors are more muted than a bored chameleon, and if you mess up on rice paper, it's game over. Comparing realistic painting to photography is like comparing a Michelin-starred meal to McDonald's. One takes time to savor, while the other is quick and easy. But in these creative shackles, where artists look like they're spinning their wheels, that's where the magic happens. Out of these seemingly pointless struggles, bam, genius strikes like lightning, leaving everyone staring like they just saw a unicorn. The ultimate goal of hyperrealism is to showcase the incredible skill and dedication of the artist. It requires a deep understanding of anatomy, light, shadow, and texture, all of which must be meticulously rendered to create a lifelike image. Leng Jun's work exemplifies this dedication, pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with paint and brush. His hyper-realistic paintings invite viewers to marvel at the precision and craftsmanship involved, reminding us of the human ability to create art that rivals the accuracy of photographs. He's like the guardian angel of easel art, making sure it stays hip in our visual world. His paintings aren't just defying death, they're like organizing a chaotic dorm room, bringing order to the canvas chaos. Leng Jun's art vibes perfectly with society's deep thoughts and cultural cravings, sprinkling some fancy spice into the big picture. From this angle, Leng Jun's super realistic oil portraits are like a high five to old-school Western art's love for being real and objective. They're the backbone of modern Chinese figure art and a big nod to achieving the Chinese dream. Whether he's painting wrinkles deeper than a gossip column or capturing emotions like a paparazzi on caffeine, Leng Jun keeps art alive and kicking with more detail than a master weaver's finest tapestry. He's basically using Western art tricks to spin ancient Chinese tales, serving up a slice of that Oriental flair. It's like he's on a crusade to prove that art isn't just about finger painting and daydreaming. It's about adulting with a palette and making creativity look as responsible as paying your taxes on time. So what do you think about Leng Jun's hyper-realistic art? Thanks for tuning in. If you dug this content, smash that like button and hit subscribe faster than a squirrel on a caffeine binge. I'll catch you in the next one.